Are you developing your intuition and your awareness of who you really are? Are you doubting your intuition because it means that you'd have to go against status quo? And do you want to have confidence in yourself and trust what you know to be true for you? If you answered yes to any of these questions, this is the show that you're going to want to tune into. Coffee and Confidence, Episode 8, How to Trust Yourself. So excited to be interviewing today's guest to bring awesome value to all of you who are tuning into your intuition and learning to trust yourself. I'm your host today, Kelly Carrigan, and I am an assertiveness coach. My business is EmpowerMe Coaching, where I'm helping people pleasers do lots of things. I'm helping them calm the chaos, helping them reduce stress, helping them learn to say no without feeling guilty so that they can live life on their terms. I'm coaching people worldwide and making a huge difference, and I'm so excited to be hosting this show and to bring great value to all of you. So without further delay, I want to introduce to you today's guest, Keira Lani. So Keira Lani is an energy healer, and she's connecting people to their true gifts. So thank you so much for being here today, Keira. If I haven't said I'm excited already, I'm excited. So that's just a little bit about Keira, but I want to turn it over to you now. Please share a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you so much, Kelly. It's such a pleasure to be here and sharing with your amazing tribe. I definitely resonate with this recovering people pleaser. I also could call myself that, and I discovered that when I let other people tell me what to think, then I end up feeling lost. And so I learned to touch in with my own intuition and discover what I think and tell that to people. And you know what? People appreciate me more than when I tried to do what they wanted me to. So thank you for this amazing work that you're doing. I help healers and entrepreneurs to master their energy and make a greater impact. And I also bring people together with nature to unearth their true nature. One of my great passions is connecting to trees and receiving the messages available through that connection, and helping people to go within and discover the messages available within is also one of my great passions. So I'm really excited to share a little bit more about that today with you and your audience. So thank you for this opportunity.
That sounds amazing. I can really relate to being an outdoorsy person and connecting with nature and connecting with trees. It's just, I remember being a kid and going in the woods with my parents and going I just want to live here, right? It's just, so it was being outside and in nature surrounded by trees has always been so freeing for me. Many out there, just like us, who can relate to that as well. So again, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Now, before we get going on your amazing tips and your insight, it is the Coffee and Confidence show. So it is time for What is in Your Cup? All right. So in my cup today, here it is. I got to slide it over. So in my cup today, I am drinking an espresso. And there's a little bit of a story behind that. Is when I was 16, I traveled to France. And I stayed with a French family for the first time. And I mean, they drank coffee all the time. And that's how I got introduced to coffee and drinking espressos. And I remember we would go to the little coffee shops, the little cafes, and they would serve it with the cube sugar. And to be honest, I probably had more sugar in there than coffee at the time. But that's how I got onto coffee, drinking espressos. So that's what's in my cup. Keira, what's in your cup?
In my cup, I am drinking some yerba mate. So this cup itself has a story that I want to share today. This is a Native American water prayer cup. It's specifically for women because women carry the water in Native American tradition. But I chose this cup specifically today because we are having fires throughout the West, and I am praying for rain with my cup of yerba mate. And mate is something that I also discovered traveling. So it's wonderful to share that. I went to Argentina when I was a teenager and did an exchange. And there they all drink mate socially, and they have these little gourds which also come from the mate plant. From this, mate is a vine, and the gourds grow on the vine. They cut the gourds, they cut the top off of them, and then they cure them with the mate, and then they fill it up with the herb, the leaves, the yerba mate, and then they pour water on. And the way they do it is each water pouring is a serving. And they also put sugar. They put little scoops of sugar on each time. I'm not so much of a sugar person, so I always declined the sugar, but there would still be some in there because they're passing the gourd around socially. And so that's the mate tradition. And somebody brought it back from Peru at one point, and it has become kind of a thing in the US. And what's amazing about mate is it has more caffeine than tea. Sometimes tea just doesn't really do much, especially if you get used to coffee.
Uh-huh.
And I will, if I drink coffee every day, then I'll start to have a headache if I don't drink coffee. And so that's when I switched to mate, because the mate doesn't do that. It has vitamins and minerals, and it's balancing and alkalizing. And so it creates this clean energy with no crash. And so that's why I love mate. And I have a little bit of honey in my mate. It is bitter on its own. And so that's what's in my cup.
That's really, really interesting. I've never heard of mate, so I'm definitely going to have to look it up. And if you have any links with more information of what mate is. Now, what was the first word you used before mate?
Yerba mate. So yerba means herb. So yerba mate is the mate herb. And then the gourd, I actually don't remember. I think they just call the gourd mate too, if I'm remembering correctly. It was quite some time ago when I was 17 at this point.
So you had that experience when you were 17? Like I had this experience when I was like 16 and 17 because I had traveled to France for 2 summers those years. Yeah, really interesting. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, you never know what you're going to learn about here on the Coffee and Confidence show. Yeah, so that's something new for any of my avid coffee drinkers like myself to explore and try out. Awesome. So I see that we have some viewers online. Please say hello. Let us know you're here. We can see your comments as you make them. And any questions, comments, we will acknowledge everybody. So if you've got anything that you want to share, please feel free to do so. So in saying that, I do want to acknowledge Cindy this morning. Cindy says, hi there. Good day, Cindy. Thank you so much for tuning in. So if you haven't already, grab your pen and paper because you might want to make notes with what we're going to talk about today. So, let's just get it right into it. Because I've had the experience, personally and also with working with clients, is that people will doubt their intuition. So why do people doubt their intuition?
That is a good question. And I would say, in my experience, that is very often our conditioning when we go to school. Maybe our parents were always telling us, this is how you do it. I don't care what you want. We're doing this now. Maybe it's when you went to school as a child. For me, I had a big shutting down when I went to school because I learned that they just wanted me to regurgitate information. They didn't want to hear what I thought or what I found in my experience. They just wanted to test me on whether I can repeat what they told me. And so we're taught, repeat what I told you. This is the way it is. Do the things that we do in our society, and then you'll find your place in the world. And so we aren't really taught to look inside and see what we think inside and what things are making us feel and what is right for you. I don't remember ever being asked, does this feel right to you? I was always told, this is the right way. This is the way to do it. Now do it. So
Uh-huh. That brings up, I've had conversations with, you know, like, what do you call them? Not young adults. I'll just put them as young adults who, into university, coming out of university, and it's just like, okay, what to do next? And so many of them have this like picture of this ideal life that it's okay, I got to get my education, I got to get a good job, I got to get married, I got to buy a house. And, so they have, it's like that's kind of what's been programmed for us, right? Like, what do you see for yourself? And this is the answers that they give. Well, okay, now that I'm done school, I have to get a good job and settle down and get married and have kids and have a big house. And so you're right. It's like that we're programmed that certain way that, when we have these thoughts of something that's like in their minds, like, oh my gosh, I'd love to do that, but like, oh no, that's too wild and crazy. It goes against what they've been programmed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like you had mentioned that you connect people to their true gifts, their true self, right? Their intuition. Like, what's the biggest barrier for people to listen to their intuition? Like, just think of like your clients that you've helped and the people that you've helped. What is stopping them, I guess, from listening to their intuition?
Well, it's similar to what I just said, but I think often we look to other people to tell us. We want other people to reflect back to us, even when we think, oh, this is such a great idea that I had. We want to take it to someone else. And then sometimes that other person says, I don't know what you're thinking. That is crazy. And then we just shut it down and we don't think about it anymore. And I remember this was a really, really big one for me when I was young. I would have really strong feelings of intuition. And I would tell my partner, I was a young mother, so I had children with a man, and I would tell him, I don't know why, but this is a really bad idea. And he would say, oh no, but for this reason and this reason and this reason, it's a good idea. And he would just give his logic reasons. He would reason it out. And then I wouldn't have anything to say because I'm coming from intuition. I know in my heart it's a bad idea, but he wouldn't listen. And then every single time something bad would happen. And so I kind of learned to notice that, but then I noticed I would still do the same thing to myself. We're trained, like I was saying in school, we're trained to reason things out with our mind and to put them in a logical sequence and to maybe weigh the pros and cons, but it's all about thinking it through. And so I have myself talked myself out of my intuition with my own brain just by using that logical sequence of, oh, but this reason and this reason and this reason means that I shouldn't listen to that intuition. And every time I've done that, I've discovered that my intuition is right. Somehow there's a deeper knowing that's underneath our brain that can give us information because we can't, as humans, we just don't know everything. There's power in accepting that we can't know all the sequences of events that are going to happen. There's no way of knowing, but there's a deep wisdom that can that can give us information through our feelings so that we don't have to know all of those things in order to make the decision that's right for our own best interests. Does
Mm-hmm.
that make sense?
Absolutely, totally makes sense to me. Yeah, so I just jotted down like a couple of key words there as you were speaking that I just want to like highlight a little bit more, right? So even like with the clients that I work, like people pleasers, right? They have this feeling of intuition like you described. However, they're seeking that approval, right? Like, well,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think? However, you can't seek approval from somebody who doesn't understand. And not everybody is in tune with their intuition, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're all learning and we're all at a different point in our journey. And something else that came out of that is that, trusting your intuition means that you're going against the social circle, right? Like going against the social norms. So what tends to happen is that if you go against social norms, you tend to alienate yourself. And we're social beings. Like, we want to feel like we matter. We want to feel like we belong, right? So if we spend about 50% of the time like cheering on our intuition, like congratulating it, patting it on the back, like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And then the other 50%, agreeing with society, sticking to the norm, and doubting your intuition, right? So it's learning to trust yourself more and realize that it's okay that not everybody understands.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely resonate with that. Oh, now I'm getting that echo again. Not sure what's happening.
Mm-hmm. I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you now. Yeah, I seriously can't hear you.
You still can't hear me.
I can hear you now.
You can? Is that better? That's so strange. I don't know what's happening with the sound. Sorry, everybody.
That's all right. We'll roll with it. So I want you to highlight actually, what are some of the benefits from trusting your intuition?
Well, for me, the benefits have been really finding my purpose, finding my true path in life, and discovering the people in the world that support me. Because when I used to try to speak to, oh, this is what everybody else wants to hear,
right,
then I would get, I actually would get no feedback, no positive feedback. And when I started focusing on, okay, this is my heart speaking, this is what I have to say, now I'm getting people saying, oh, wow, thank you so much for sharing that. I feel the same way, but I didn't know there was anybody in the world that I could talk to about that. And so I'm actually, by trusting myself and my intuition, I'm finding my true tribe, and the people that just wanted me around so that they could hold my energy or complain about their life, they're leaving my sphere, and I'm opening up to a more expansive experience of life. I'm having greater connection to my spirit, to the greater consciousness and awareness of all life. It's really quite amazing. It's hard to describe the benefits, but there are more tangible benefits too, which are that I've noticed that I'm calling in financial abundance. I'm calling in a joy that comes from within that is not affected by my outside circumstances. And I'm creating the reality that I want to be living by trusting myself, just by continuing to come back to, okay, this is what I'm feeling is right for me. I'm going to trust it, even though I don't know how yet. And then it opens up for me because I trust that I find the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing. So I wrote down some key words just to highlight some of the benefits. So some of the benefits that you said is self-respect, giving others permission to do the same, to be authentic. It's very expansive. It's creative abundance and joy in your life. And it's also deterred some energy vampires that were literally in your life and just sucking that positive energy from you for their benefit. So yeah, that's totally worth, listening to your intuition and trusting yourself and being true to yourself. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's really quite amazing. I am grateful to myself for choosing to trust myself, because it has been so amazing to experience that expansiveness.
Mm-hmm. So what tips do you have for our viewers today so that they can start trusting themselves?
So I would say the biggest tip is to take some time with yourself and listen to what is available within. So I know it's kind of a big everybody talks about meditation. It's like, oh, are you meditating? And a lot of people say, oh, I don't know how to meditate. I can't meditate. I can't stop the thoughts. And so I tell people, you don't have to sit silent. I'm getting a really weird sound. Are you getting that too?
It's a little chirpy, I'm not going to lie.
Okay, let's try that again.
This is frustrating. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Is the sound better?
Yes, the chirping is gone.
The chirping is gone. The echo is still here, but I'll just deal with it.
Yeah, so you were talking about meditating and that.
Yeah, I think it's important not to think about meditation. Can you try your headphones? I'm sorry. It's very distracting.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Okay, let's see if that's better. That's better for me, so hopefully it works for you as well. Mm-hmm. So anyways, when you can listen to yourself, when you can make quiet time for yourself, then you can hear the messages from the intuition. And this doesn't mean that you have to be able to turn your thoughts off. It doesn't mean that you even have to sit in a certain position. You can do it while you're walking, while you're washing the dishes. I even like driving meditation. For me, it's the turning off my need to do and resting in a sense of being, and then just listening. And then when I get a message from myself, then to just sit with it, to just rest with it, allow it to be. We don't necessarily have to do anything in order to learn to trust ourselves. The whole idea is to listen to yourself and then see what it feels like. So once the idea comes in, oh, this project sounds really exciting to me. Once the idea comes in, or you're saying, oh, is this something I should do? Should I work with this person? Should I do this on my own? What's the best path for me? Whatever that idea is, put that idea into your mind, maybe even put it into your heart. Like imagine putting the idea into your heart instead of your mind, and see what it feels like. We can actually rest with the thought long enough to see what it feels like. So if you're getting a feeling of, oh, wow, this feels really expansive and light. When I think that thought, I just feel like I'm going to float up off my chair. I feel like I have energy and I want to just go out and do it. Then that's probably the right thing for you. If you put that thought inside and you rest with it and you start feeling heavy or contracted, or like, oh, I just want to hide in a cave, then that's probably not the right thing for you. And so when you practice this enough, you start to recognize, for me, if something feels really right, sometimes I'll just be talking to someone and they say something that just feels really right and lights me up. I'll just feel like I'm vibrating, or I'll feel a vibration in my back sometimes. And I just say, oh, okay, that's definitely something that's right for me. I'm going to take note of that and just see what comes through it. Mm-hmm. And it's difficult sometimes, especially when you're first learning these practices. It's difficult to allow the space to trust yourself, because we're trained to just do, keep doing and keep doing until it's done, which of course it's never done. So we're just doing and doing, and that's the only way to create an outcome. And sometimes we have to allow space to be, and then we can see a clearer path to the most effective and appropriate actions, because just a quantity of actions can get us nowhere and we're spinning our wheels. But if we pause and take the time to choose the action that really resonates, that creates that vibration or that expansive, joyful feeling, then that's also likely to be the action that is the most effective towards reaching our goal.
So I just want to interrupt for a second. That I'm like you. I can make a decision like that. And I'm getting a distraction in my headphones now. That's why I'm hesitating. But like, I take time to reflect on my decisions. Whereas some people that I have met have said, no, if I wait too long to make the decision, I'll talk myself out of it. Now, I'm the opposite. I take time to reflect on it to make sure that the energy and that, it really resonates with me. As an example, in May, it was April or May, I was contacted by Long and McQuaid to teach piano lessons. Music's been a big part of my life. I've taught music lessons. I've taught piano lessons specifically, guitar and saxophone lessons for years. And of course, they reach out to me, and it was like, at first, it was exciting. It's like, oh, they really want me. And I went and I entertained the idea because, I'm open to new opportunities. However, when I really sat with the decision, it wasn't in line with what I wanted for myself. So for instance, the music room had no natural light. I know being in that environment with no natural light really drains me of my energy. And then again, it was holding me to a specific location at a specific time, working for someone else, which, and they wanted a long-term commitment. And I thought, you know what, I might be really excited to do it for 2 or 3 months. And then knowing those little cute key things about myself, I knew that long-term, being in a room with no natural light for 3-4 hours at a time was not going to serve me. Right? So I believe that it's important to really tune in and really take the time to reflect about what that opportunity, how it's going to make me feel. And that's another question that I wrote down as you were chatting, is like, ask yourself, how am I feeling about this? How am I feeling in this space? My daughter is very in tune with her energy. Even at a young age, we'd go into certain stores, say at the mall, and she'd be like, Mommy, my belly hurts. I need to leave. And I know it's that there's something about the energy. We've gone to look at houses, and, I've gotten 5 steps in where I'm like, I don't know, it's almost like my vision goes kaleidoscopy, and I'm like, oh, I need to be outside. I can't be in this space. So for me, I'm more in tune with my energy, but it's a practice for sure. And it, like you said, it is taking that quiet time to really take that inward. And I'm more of an active person as well. Like, I don't do well, sitting cross-legged on a meditation pillow. Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes taking a walk is the best way to create that space for yourself, to get out of whatever space you're in and just move through. And then sometimes that's how the clarity comes the best for me, is to actually go outside and take a walk. And whether it's wherever you are, whether it's in a city or in nature, just having that change of scenery can sometimes shift things. And I wanted to speak a little bit to what you were sharing about the music lessons. I've had very similar experiences. I had an opportunity to teach a Qigong class in a hot yoga studio. And I really liked the space when I walked into the front, but then they wanted the classroom to be in the hot yoga space, which is designed for hot yoga, right? So there's no windows. And And I thought, this doesn't feel like my space. And then I'm having the same thing with being location dependent. And I realized that that didn't serve my long-term goals. And I've really decided to focus all of my efforts on what feels right. And sometimes, like I just decided yesterday very quickly to create a tree gong retreat in North Carolina. And in that instance, it was just instant, this feels right. And it's time. And it's something that's been fomenting for a while, that I've been building up to for a while. So it's not like I just suddenly decided to do it and did it, but suddenly a particular venue came into my awareness. I spoke to the person, it felt right. And I said, I'm just going to go for it. So it doesn't have to take a long time to get the feelings. It might take a long time at first as we're learning to understand the way our individual bodies express themselves to us, because everybody has a little bit of a different way that they feel things. And we're so trained to push through those. Like when you were sharing about going into a place and feeling contracted and negative feelings and wanting to leave, we're trained to just push through those things. And we're told, it's okay. There's no reason for you to feel that way. Just go for it anyways. And then sometimes we have to learn the hard way. I've definitely had to learn the hard way. I've definitely pushed through feelings of this is not right until I'm shown how wrong it is in the end, and have a really uncomfortable situation through it. So now I've learned to just pay attention to those feelings. And if it doesn't feel right at this point in my life, if something doesn't feel right, I don't have to know why anymore. I just know and understand that those feelings are important, and it doesn't matter why, because when I go with what feels right, then I'm shown why later. And when I try to push through the feelings of it feeling wrong, I'm definitely shown why, but probably sooner than later. And so it's important to learn how each of us, for me, what I realized is that getting to know myself and how I function in the world as Keira, not as my mother or my ex-partner or my child or my best friend, because they all have their own way of functioning in the world. And I have to function in the world in the way that I was designed as my own unique being in order to live my purpose and bring my gifts to the world. And so for a long time, I was like, oh, I should do this, I need to do that. And I realized that I'm not a person who will do one project. I'm a person who wants to juggle 5 different projects. And for years, I was telling myself, you have to focus, you have to focus, you have to focus. And I would never get anything done.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had an epiphany. Oh, why don't I try working with myself the way I am? And so now I follow that intuition and I focus on what's calling me in the moment, and I get things done. So it's how do you function is the question to ask yourself. What is your way?
Right. Yeah. I know my way. I function best when I'm active. Like my way of relaxing is puttering. Right. That relaxes me. I remember like in one of our, like, anyway, our previous house, I'd just be outside picking up sticks and breaking sticks, right? Like connecting with the trees. And my husband's like, what are you doing? Breaking sticks or, collecting sticks? And I'm like, uh-huh. He's like, why? I'm like, because I love it. But it's my form of, if you want to call it meditation or just relaxing or just being, but it's still movement. Yeah.
Yeah, so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think of the people out there who are, learning to listen to their intuition, learning to trust themselves. And, you know, a tip that I want to give is that not everybody's going to understand, and that's okay. Not everybody is going to understand. But when you can tune into your intuition and learn to trust yourself, it's going to bring about and it's going to bring out your true self. And when you are truly yourself, that's going to raise your confidence. I see it all the time in the clients that I work with. When they stop people pleasing and start, trusting their intuition and start voicing who they really are, they do earn respect. They have this whole way of being, like you said, abundance comes, joy comes. And why? It's just because you're learning to be who you really are. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's amazing to see. Like, I just love what I do. Met with a client last night who has really done like a complete 180, and it's just so lovely to see, because the energy that she's emitting is totally different than when we first met. And she's definitely reaping the rewards of that, of listening and trusting herself.
Oh, so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
That,
before we clue up, is there any last tips that you have for our viewers to learning to trust themselves?
hmm. I guess the I guess the main tip I have is to to actually, I would say, don't ask somebody else what they think until you have decided in your own self, because it's so easy to get thrown off, even when we're so sure. I've had this happen to me several times. Oh, I go to my mother, oh, this is what I'm doing, and I'm so excited about it. And then she says, well, why? I don't think that's a good idea. And so I would say, in the process of learning to trust yourself, really allow yourself the opportunity to try it, to try what your intuition is telling you first before you even share it with somebody else. So you may have somebody that you feel you can really trust to support you no matter what, and that can be helpful to share. But in my own journey, I've found that sometimes I have to do the things my heart is telling me first, see the results, and then share it, so that I don't get those naysayers pulling me off track.
Yeah, that is very valuable advice right there, right? Don't go seeking approval from others, right? Learn to trust yourself, because everybody has their opinion and their belief system, and there's no guarantee that it's going to be in line with yours. So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and sharing your insights and your amazing, lovely energy with everybody today. I want to invite you to share with the viewers how people can reach out to you, how they can get in touch, or if there's any programs that you have going on that you would like to share.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kelly. So, Keira Lani on Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook right now. So if you're on Facebook, reach out to me, Keira Lani, and we can connect there. I also have a website, practiceselflove.com, and I will be posting things there, but everything is here on Facebook. So that's the easiest way to reach me quickly. And I do have an amazing energy cultivation online program that's starting up next week. I'm really excited. I have a wonderful group forming there. So that is an opportunity to learn techniques to manage your energy and expand your energy and heal yourself, ultimately creating power to heal others. And I also work one-on-one with clients if you want more personalized attention. And the newest exciting event is a retreat, a tree gong retreat in North Carolina coming up in December. It's going to be a small, intimate group connecting with nature, to connect with your own true nature, learning transformational breathing practices, healing movement arts, meditation, journaling, all connecting with amazing people, eating farm fresh food, there are farm animals. It's like actually on a working farm. So it's like going back to our roots. And if you just want to check out what I'm doing, I actually have a free Facebook Live event coming up on Sunday at 12 p.m. Pacific and 3 p.m. Eastern. So I will invite everyone to come and check that out and get more of an idea of what I'm doing there. And then we can take it from there. So
that sounds amazing. Yeah. So once we're done, I'm going to invite you to leave all those links in the comments. So you can share, pages, events, that sort of thing, so that the people have easy access to connecting with you. And yes, Keira Lani, her name is like underneath her. Look her up, add her as a friend on Facebook, and yeah, stay tuned. So thank you so much for being here, Keira. I want to invite all the viewers today to join my private Facebook group, The Coffee and Confidence. If you've enjoyed the show, want to connect with like-minded community, because the whole mission of the group is to grow in confidence and to have a little fun. Maybe coffee is your thing, maybe it's not. You might be a coffee or avid coffee drinker, or you might be an avid tea drinker. It really doesn't matter if you drink coffee or not. We just like to support one another and have a little fun and help each other grow in confidence. And this is a weekly show, the Coffee and Confidence Show. It's every Thursday morning. Next week's guest is Haley Bowen, and she's going to be talking about how clarity builds confidence. So next week, the show is going to be at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can tune in to that episode 9. So that's it. So thank you so much again, Keira. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. Leave your comments, questions. Even, on the replay, we will get to them. All right. Bye, everyone.